Nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, Iraq is a land steeped in history. This region, often called the Cradle of Civilization, witnessed the birth of some of humanity's earliest cities and empires. From the invention of writing to the development of law codes, the ancient Mesopotamians left an indelible mark on human history. Their innovations would influence the course of civilization for millennia to come. The story of Iraq is one of both triumph and tragedy. It is a tale of empires rising and falling, of cultural exchange and violent conflict. From the legendary Hanging Gardens of Babylon to the intellectual centers of Baghdad, Iraq has long been a crossroads of cultures and ideas. However, its strategic location and abundant resources have also made it a target for invasion and conquest. The land has witnessed countless conflicts throughout the centuries. Each wave of conquerors left its own mark on the region, shaping its culture, religion, and identity. Around 3500 BC, a remarkable people known as the Sumerians emerged in southern Mesopotamia. They built sophisticated irrigation systems, allowing them to thrive in the fertile river valley. Sumerians lived in city-states, each ruled by its own king and dedicated to a patron deity. These city-states engaged in trade, diplomacy, and occasional warfare. The Sumerians were responsible for many groundbreaking inventions, including the wheel, the plough, and cuneiform writing. Cuneiform, a system of wedge-shaped marks impressed on clay tablets, revolutionized communication and record-keeping. This innovation allowed the Sumerians to document their myths, laws, and daily lives, providing us with invaluable insights into their world. Around 2300 BC, a powerful Akkadian ruler named Sargon conquered the Sumerian city-states, uniting them under his rule. This marked the birth of the world's first empire, the Akkadian Empire. Sargon's empire stretched across Mesopotamia, laying the foundation for future empires to rise and dominate the region. Centuries after Sargon, a new power emerged in Mesopotamia, Babylon. Under the reign of King Hammurabi, Babylon rose to become the dominant force in the region. Hammurabi was a shrewd ruler and a skilled military strategist. He expanded Babylonian territory and established a centralized government that endured for centuries. Hammurabi is perhaps best known for his famous law code inscribed on a massive stone stele. The Code of Hammurabi, a collection of 282 laws, covered a wide range of issues from trade and property rights to family law and criminal justice. This code, based on the principle of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, aimed to create a just and orderly society. Babylonian culture flourished during this period. The city of Babylon itself became a renowned center of learning and commerce. Its magnificent ziggurats, towering temples dedicated to the gods, became symbols of Babylonian power and ingenuity. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, were said to have been built by Nebuchadnezzar II as a gift to his wife. The Babylonian Empire eventually fell to the Assyrians, a fierce warrior people from northern Mesopotamia. The Assyrians established a vast empire that stretched from Egypt to Anatolia. They were known for their military prowess, their sophisticated siege warfare techniques, and their brutal treatment of conquered enemies. The Assyrian Empire was followed by the Persian Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great. Cyrus conquered Babylon in 539 BC, incorporating it into his vast empire. The Persians were known for their tolerance of conquered peoples and their efficient administrative system. They allowed the Babylonians to maintain their culture and religion, creating a relatively peaceful period in Mesopotamian history. In 331 BC, Alexander the Great of Macedon defeated the Persian king Darius III at the Battle of Gaugamela. This decisive victory marked the end of the Persian Empire and the beginning of the Hellenistic period in Mesopotamia. Alexander's conquest brought Greek culture and ideas to the region, influencing art, architecture, and philosophy for centuries to come. Section 5. The Dawn of Islam, a new era for Mesopotamia. Following Alexander's death, Mesopotamia was ruled by a succession of Hellenistic kingdoms. However, a new force was emerging in the Arabian Peninsula, Islam. In the 7th century AD, the Prophet Muhammad founded Islam in Mecca. His message of monotheism and social justice spread rapidly, uniting the Arab tribes under the banner of Islam. In 637 AD, Muslim armies conquered the Sasanian Persian capital of Ctesiphon, located near modern-day Baghdad. This victory marked the beginning of Islamic rule in Mesopotamia. The Muslim conquerors brought with them their language, their religion, and their culture, transforming the region. Under the Abbasid Caliphate, Baghdad became the capital of the Islamic world. The city flourished as a center of learning, trade, and culture. Scholars from across the empire flocked to Baghdad, drawn by its renowned libraries and universities. The Abbasid period was a golden age for Islamic civilization, marked by advancements in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and literature. Section 6. The Ottoman era centuries of rule. The Abbasid Caliphate eventually weakened and fragmented. In the 13th century, the Mongols, led by Hulagu Khan, sacked Baghdad, bringing an end to the Abbasid dynasty. Mesopotamia was incorporated into the Ilkhanate, a Mongol Khanate that ruled over Persia and parts of Central Asia. In the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire, centered in Constantinople, emerged as the dominant power in the Islamic world. The Ottomans conquered Mesopotamia, incorporating it into their vast empire. Mesopotamia became an Ottoman province ruled by governors appointed by the Sultan in Constantinople. The Ottoman era in Mesopotamia was a period of relative stability and prosperity. The Ottomans maintained law and order, encouraged trade, and invested in infrastructure projects. However, Ottoman rule was not without its challenges. The region was often caught in the crossfire between the Ottomans and their Safavid rivals in Persia. Section 7. British influence and the birth of modern Iraq. In the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire began to decline, weakened by internal strife and external pressure from European powers. The British, seeking to protect their interests in India, established a strong presence in the Gulf region. During World War I, the British invaded Ottoman Mesopotamia, capturing Baghdad in 1917. Following the war, the Ottoman Empire was dismantled. The League of Nations granted Britain a mandate over Mesopotamia, which became known as Iraq. The British faced significant challenges in governing Iraq. The country was ethnically and religiously diverse, with a long history of internal divisions. The British sought to create a modern nation-state in Iraq, imposing a centralized government and Western-style institutions. However, their efforts to impose their will on Iraqi society often backfired, fueling resentment and resistance. In 1932, Iraq gained formal independence from Britain, but British influence remained strong. Section 8. Turmoil and Transition, the 20th Century. The decades following independence were marked by political instability, military coups, and social unrest. Iraq struggled to establish a stable democratic system, and the country was often ruled by authoritarian regimes. The discovery of oil in the 1920s transformed Iraq's economy, but it also increased tensions with Western powers. In 1979, Saddam Hussein, a ruthless and ambitious leader, came to power in Iraq. Saddam Hussein consolidated his power, brutally suppressing any opposition. He launched Iraq into a disastrous 8-year war with Iran, devastating both countries. In 1990, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, triggering the First Gulf War, in which a US-led coalition expelled Iraqi forces from Kuwait. Throughout the 1990s, Iraq faced crippling economic sanctions imposed by the United Nations. These sanctions, while aimed at weakening Saddam Hussein's regime, had a devastating impact on the Iraqi people. The country's infrastructure crumbled, and many Iraqis suffered from poverty and malnutrition. Section 9. The Iraq War and its aftermath. In 2003, the United States, along with a coalition of allies, invaded Iraq, citing Saddam Hussein's alleged possession of weapons of mass destruction and his supposed links to terrorism. The invasion led to the rapid collapse of Saddam Hussein's regime. He was captured, tried, and executed in 2006. The invasion and subsequent occupation of Iraq proved to be highly controversial and deeply divisive. No weapons of mass destruction were ever found, and the war led to a prolonged and bloody insurgency. The US military presence in Iraq lasted for nearly a decade, costing thousands of lives and trillions of dollars. The withdrawal of US troops in 2011 left behind a fragile and deeply divided country. Iraq has struggled to rebuild its infrastructure, heal its sectarian divisions, and establish a stable democratic government. The rise of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, or ISIS, in 2014 further destabilized the country, plunging it into another cycle of violence and chaos. Section 10. Conclusion: Iraq's journey and uncertain future. Iraq's history is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. From the ashes of ancient empires to the ruins of modern conflicts, the Iraqi people have endured. Their story is a tapestry woven from threads of innovation, creativity, and an unwavering will to survive. However, Iraq's future remains uncertain. The country faces daunting challenges, from political instability and economic hardship to the threat of terrorism and the legacy of past conflicts. The path ahead will require reconciliation, compromise, and a commitment to building a just and equitable society for all Iraqis. As we look to the future, we can only hope that Iraq will once again reclaim its place as a beacon of civilization, a land where innovation flourishes, where diversity is celebrated, and where peace prevails. The world watches and waits, hoping that the cradle of civilization will once again cradle the dreams of a brighter tomorrow.